Imagine this. Someone texts you, "Let's meet at your place." And in that exact second, you don't feel excitement. You feel tension, like something inside you instantly tightens and a quiet signal of anxiety turns on. Even though objectively nothing bad is happening, it's a close person or someone you know, everything is fine, but the reaction is already there. And if you recognize yourself in this, it's important to understand this is not about being cold, not about not liking people, and not about something being wrong with you. Very often, it's about something completely different, about the fact that your home has a different meaning for you than it does for most people. And while some see home as an extension of social life, a place for meetings, conversations, and constant interaction, for you, it is a space where you finally stop holding yourself together, where you don't have to meet expectations, where you don't have to be interesting, active, or convenient, where you can simply exist without roles and without pressure. And that is exactly why the idea of inviting someone into this space can create not excitement, but internal resistance, something that is hard to explain with words, but very easy to feel in your body. And this is where it gets interesting, because from the outside, it often looks like closed-off behavior or distance, and people quickly come up with a simple explanation that you are just not communicative or that you don't like people, but in reality, it goes much deeper. Because it's not about people, it's about the interaction with your own space and your own nervous system. Because when others enter your home, even the closest and most welcome ones, that space stops being fully yours. It changes, and along with it, your internal state changes. Not sharply, not dramatically, but quietly and almost invisibly. Yet enough for you to no longer fully relax, as if some part of you stays alert the whole time, constantly scanning, reacting, adjusting. And this is not an exaggeration. This is a real feature of how the nervous system works in some people. Because there are those who process social signals more deeply and for longer. They notice tone of voice, facial expressions, micro-movements, shifts in behavior, and their brain does not release these signals immediately. It keeps holding and analyzing them, even if everything looks calm on the outside. And because of that, the load builds up much faster than in people who process information more superficially. And at some point, the level of stimulation simply exceeds the comfortable threshold, and the nervous system shifts out of recovery mode into constant activity mode. And that is why after guests, you don't just feel a little tired, you feel the need to restore silence inside yourself, as if to clear the space, not only physically, but mentally. And sometimes that takes hours, and sometimes even days. And this is another point people often don't understand, because for them, social contact can be a source of energy, while for you, it is a cost. And this is not good or bad. It is simply different types of nervous system organization. And if you go even deeper, for many people, home is connected to a sense of control and safety. It is a place where the world becomes predictable again, where everything is in its place, where there is no need to constantly react and adjust. And when guests appear in that space, even if they behave perfectly, the very structure of predictability is disrupted. And the body reacts faster than you can consciously understand it. A light state of alertness turns on, not because there is real danger, but because the familiar sense of stability disappears. And this is a very subtle process, hard to explain with words, but felt as a constant background discomfort. And there is also another group of people who are very precise in sensing their own resources. They clearly know how much energy they have and how much attention they can give. And they understand that any social interaction is always an exchange that requires internal energy. And for them, not wanting to host guests is not a rejection of people. It is a form of self-protection, a choice not to give themselves away in situations where recovery will cost too much. And sometimes, behind this choice, there is past experience, situations where boundaries were crossed, where someone criticized their space, or where there was a feeling that the home had to be justified, explained, or defended. And even if these situations are long in the past, the body can still hold a simple formula. Guests equal tension, and act based on it automatically, without conscious analysis. But here, it is very important not to make a false conclusion, because not wanting guests does not mean not wanting people. Many of these people are warm, attentive, and deeply empathetic. They can easily maintain connection, show care, and build close relationships. It is just easier for them to do it in spaces where they do not lose their sense of control and safety, where they are not forced to constantly perform roles. And at the same time, there's a very thin line that should not be missed, the line between silence that restores and silence that isolates. Because if refusing guests is a conscious choice, while connection, closeness, and interest in people still remain in life, this can be considered completely normal. But if silence starts to shrink your life, if thoughts begin to loop, if solitude stops restoring and starts draining you, this is already a signal that deserves attention. And maybe a reason to reconsider your balance between solitude and interaction. Because the point is not to force yourself to love having guests, but to not lose connection with the world. And if we return to the main idea, people who do not like hosting guests are usually not closed or cold. They're simply careful with their inner state, with their home, and with their mind. And sometimes this is not a wall, but a door they open only when there is enough light and energy inside. And now, honestly, ask yourself, when you avoid guests, what is it really about? About fatigue? About boundaries? About past experience? Or about a deep need for silence? And what exactly are you trying to protect in that moment? Write in the comments, is it about fatigue, boundaries, or the need for silence? Subscribe and like if this resonated with you.